Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Justin from Century Collectibles here. Today we're going to talk about variant covers. Um, this will be a pretty opinionated video. Everybody sees these covers differently, everybody collects differently for different reasons, and at the end of the day, you collect what you love, okay? So, whatever you collect, how many you collect, that is your thing, and if you're happy with it, cool. This video is more meant to just kind of inform those people who may be seeing these large quantities of variant covers coming out, specifically retailer variants, and just kind of giving them a little bit of information in terms of what to expect when it comes to the value of these books and the future. Now, no one's going to know what's going to happen in the future, right? No one can tell. But we can also kind of use things from the past as examples. The market, the comic book market in general, when it comes to current comic books, modern comic books, it tends to stay pretty much the same. There will be fluctuations when certain things are released or come out that cause spikes in prices and things like that. But generally, especially with all of these retailer incentives coming out, there's been so much of an influx that the market, people looking for these books, they really just can't keep up because, when this all started, it started with the incentive covers from the publishers. So DC, Marvel, they would say, we're going to give retailers a 1 in 10 cover, or 1 in 25, or 1 in 100. What that means is the comic shops would have to buy 10 of the regular cover to get one of the 1 in 10 covers, or 100 of the regular cover to get one of the 1 in 100 covers. Now, again, not a lot of shops can really afford to buy 100 copies of a regular copy of a book, because are they going to sell 100? I don't know. That shop, it's completely up to them. If they're a bigger shop, yeah, maybe. If they're a smaller shop and they don't get a ton of business, no, it's not really worth it for them to buy that many covers and hope that they can sell that incentive cover to maybe cover the cost. But then you start looking at, well, what are they going to have to sell that incentive cover for to cover their cost, right? And that's kind of where we got to the retailer variants. The retailer variants, I will say, this market has opened up a huge door for artists. I think a lot of retailer variants have gorgeous covers from artists that weren't necessarily mainstream before, and their art wasn't relatively known. I'll give you some examples. Art Germ. Until maybe 5 years ago, I don't think Art Germ had been on a DC or Marvel cover. I've been following his stuff since he worked on the Grimm Fairy Tales books, and his art's amazing. Gabriel Delato. I'm pronouncing that terribly, by the way, so I apologize. Same thing for him. It's amazing art that I don't think anybody really knew about until these retailer variants started picking up productivity and production. Another one's Francesco Mattina. All these big name artists now who are producing so many covers on a regular basis, their stuff has become pretty high demand. One of the problems is every week another book is coming out with 3 or 4 different covers from a specific retailer, and then you have maybe 5 or 6 retailers releasing 3 different covers each. So you have 6 of them. That's 18 different covers that you need to get, not including the regular cover. Now, I'm not saying you have to get that, but some people are perfectionists or completionists, and perfectionists too, and they will want all those covers. There's a large part of the market of people who will buy up these covers as soon as they're released and try to flip them on eBay, which, I mean, if you want to do that, fine, you do you. Is it fair? That's going to be something that I think a lot of people will argue on. Some people will say, yeah, I mean, that's how capitalism works. I invest the money in this and I make money on it. Other people will say, no, it's not fair because, well, if one person buys 1,000 copies of that book and 1,000 people have to pay extra money now to get that book, that's not really fair. But again, that's not what this is about. I'm not talking about that. What I want to talk about is whether or not it's worth it to invest in these types of covers and these types of books. I'm starting to see a lot of people buying these books and saying, oh man, this is going to shoot up in value because, well, the art in it's amazing and the character's great or the artist is great or whatever. But that's not necessarily the case. And I have some examples here for you. This is a Spawn cover. This one is by Francesco Mattina. This was, I forget the ratio on this, but it's not the regular cover. I don't know if you can, my camera's not working with me. It's not the regular cover, it's a virgin cover. I love this cover, I think it's amazing. But I didn't buy this because I want to resell it. Some people did. Some people bought a whole ton of these, and now they're stuck with 20 or 30 copies because they bought them at, say, $3, $4 each or whatever, and you can still buy them at $3 or $4 each. Sometimes they're a little higher. I don't think this has gone above $10. So your profit margin is going to be super low if you try to sell all these and offload them. So if you buy that many copies of a book, you have to really hope that it goes up in value, because you can't just look at it dollar for dollar either. You now have to incorporate how much your shipping cost is, as well as returns and stuff like that, because it does happen. So, that's one example. Here's another one. This book is, I forgot the name of it. It's such a long name. Something Infinity Stone something. It's an art journal cover though. I love this cover. I got this cover because I want to get this cover signed. I think this cover would look amazing as a display piece. Some people bought this because it was limited to 800 as the virgin cover. Maybe it was 600. I don't know. Regardless, I paid, I think, 25 or 30 bucks for this, US. Now, most of the prices we're going to be talking about here are US, unless otherwise stated. But you can get this cover for, I think you can still get it from the retailer for that much. Some people bought, 5 or 6 of these, and they're trying to flip them on eBay for 40, 50 bucks. And they're not going to get that because you can still get them from the retailer. And even if you can't, there's other people on eBay selling them for, maybe just a couple bucks over what the retail value was. And now there's people out there who are stuck with a bunch of this book. Not that it's a bad thing, but that's up to you. This is another example. This is Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man #1. This is another art germ cover. Like I said, I have a lot of art germ covers, but this one was a limited to 3,000, I think, for the trade dress. Now, if you don't know, a trade dress cover is a cover that has the title, the book title, the number, the company, the publisher, all that stuff, right? Sometimes companies will offer something like this where it's an in-between. It has the trade dress, but the image is altered. Sometimes it's a black and white image, sometimes it's a sketch image, sometimes it's a Copic marker variant, whatever it is, right? But there's usually an in-between. So the trade dress, and then the in-between, and then they'll have the virgin cover. And the way these print runs work is, I believe, through Diamond. Diamond has to have a minimum order of a certain book for them to be able to print lower quantities. So that's why if you ever see these variants, they will usually start at limited to 3,000, because Diamond requires a minimum of 3,000 books ordered to print the books. That's just their policy. The next one down, which would be the middle variant, so like the Copic or Sketch or whatever it is, they'll say, well, we'll do 1,500 of that book if you order the 3,000 of this book. Cool. If you continue to order a third copy or a virgin variant or something, they will print a third copy in a lower quantity at, say, 1,000, 800, 600, 500, whatever it is. But again, when you're looking at the numbers now, that company has to buy say 4,000 books, right? That company has to sell $4,000 or 4,000 books, and at a price that they can cover their cost for having these books printed. That's why we're starting to see retailer variants that are $30, $40, $50, $60, which you get into the market and you look at your cost profit ratios, and if you buy a $75 book, first of all, you can't guarantee that that book is going to come in 9.8 or better condition, which at this point, the way grading has become a very prominent standard in the market, You can't afford to have anything less than a 9.6 or 9.8 graded copy, or raw copy, sorry. A raw copy, for anyone who doesn't know, is a book that has not been graded and encapsulated by CGC, CBCS, PGX, whatever. So if you buy this $75 book, you have to be able to sell that for over $75. Say if you're in the States, I know they can ship fairly cheap within the United States, like say like $5 or $6 or whatever. So you have to sell this book for a minimum of $80 just to cover the cost of buying it plus your shipping. Now maybe you got a deal because you bought 7 or 8 of them, so your profit margin is going to be a little bit bigger, but $80 is just going to cover the cost of buying and shipping. You make nothing off of that. So now you're going to see people selling this book online for like $90 to $100. Well, the book came out at $75. Are you going to pay $100 for something that came out at $75? Is it worth it? What's the risk involved? The risk involved is you pay $100 for a book that then starts dropping in value. And it does happen. There are a lot of books out there that were sold at MSRP for $50 or whatever, right? Now you can get them on eBay for like $10, $20. That's what I said about, or that's what I meant when you can't see the future. You can't tell what's going to happen in the market. Everything you do when it comes to speculating is a gamble. And unless you have the capital to invest in buying a large quantity of books and taking that risk, I don't recommend doing this. If you do decide to do this, and you do decide to invest money in buying retailer variants or store variants or whatever it is, at least buy things that you like. That's kind of how I operate. I don't buy multiple copies of books. I'll buy one. If I think it's a cover that's going to sell really well, I'll buy 2 maybe. That way, if it starts going up in value, I've got one I can sell. And sometimes, yeah, I can recover my money. I used to have a copy of, it was Harley Quinn, the New 52 #1, the Adam Hughes cover. I think it was a 1 in 25, but stores did not order a lot of those books. So I ran around to different comic shops and I ended up getting 3 of them. I had them graded, and at the highest point, I think I sold one of them at 9.8 with 3 signatures on it for $6.50 US. My investment on that book was $10. That is the best case scenario, that you make a ton of money on a book that you only spent $10 on, right? However, we're seeing a lot of the opposite now, where people are spending large quantities of money and not getting their return, because these books shoot up as soon as they come out. Everybody wants them, but once they start filtering into the market and onto eBay and onto Amazon and things like that, then it's there, it's readily available. It's no longer hard to get, so people can pick it up for cheaper, and then you're stuck with all these copies. Can I sell these in time? Can I sell these before the spike is over? Another problem we're seeing is books that are coming out, like I said, weekly. How can you keep up with that market if you're buying 20 copies of every variant that comes out, and they're coming out every Wednesday? They're coming out with another 10 books that have 20 variants each or whatever. That's a lot of books that you're buying and hoping and wishing that they skyrocket and you can make money to cover your cost. People can fall into some pretty deep holes doing this stuff. And that's why I want to tell you that if you are looking for something to invest in that's more safe than buying just variant covers, you're going to want to get books that have more to it than just the cover. I always say there has to be 3 things for a book to become valuable. It has to have good art, whether it's most likely on the cover, but cover or interior, mostly cover. It has to have a significant event or a good story, and it has to have, more often than not, a mainstream or popular character. So, I've got here 3 books, sorry. This is Captain America 34. This is where Bucky Barnes becomes the new Captain America. Now, I bought this book a long time ago when it came out on shelves. I only paid $5 or whatever for it. And I've held on to it because I love Alex Ross. Alex Ross did an amazing job on this cover. Now, in the movies, I'm kind of predicting that Bucky will take over Cap's position at some point, because I know A, that's the way the movies are kind of going, and B, I know Chris Evans' contract is up after, I think, the next Avengers movie, and then he's out. So, as far as investing goes, yeah, this might go up in value, because that tends to happen when movie announcements come out and stuff like that. Look at Civil War #1. I have a Civil War #1 sketch. I paid, what did I pay for it? I think I paid $60 US, which at the time was quite a bit of money. I'm in Canada, our dollar sucks, so everything's quite a bit of money in the US. But at the height, when Civil War was announced, at the height of that hype, I sold Civil War #1 for like $250, graded. My cost in grading was like $25, not including shipping, and these are all costs that you have to take into account when you're selling. So when you buy something that's expensive to begin with, you have to add all the extra costs onto it to decide whether or not you can sell it for more. Because if you can't, then you're losing money, right? So if that happens and this book goes up in price, I paid $5 for it. I'm probably just going to sell it as is for whatever. Hell, if I sell this for $20, as long as my shipping is less than, $10 or $15, I've made money on it. Not a whole lot, but that's kind of what I'm getting into here. Another one is Vengeance #1, I believe. This is the first appearance of America Chavez. This has gone up in price a little bit, but again, it's got a Gabriel Delato cover on it. It's not the prettiest cover because of all the extra stuff on it, but if Miss Chavez ends up getting into the movies or has some significant event happen, this book will go up in value. If it doesn't, I still like it, and I still don't mind having it in my collection. This is one that I took a risk on, and I mean, it wasn't a terrible risk, but this is X-Men Gold. I can't even talk. X-Men Red #1. It says it right on the label, and I'm mislabeling it. X-Men Red #1. This is the Gabriel Delato Virgin cover. I believe this is limited to 1,000. I bought the 9.8 graded version from the retailer. I'm not going to name any retailers here because every single one of them offers this stuff, and it's not really fair to promote one over the other, etc. But I bought this for, I think it was $99 US. I could technically sell it because the last sale on eBay was, I think, $150 US. But again, am I going to make money on that? I have to ship this. Shipping on CGC books and slabs are a little more because they weigh more, they're bigger, all that stuff, right? So what am I going to do? Well, I'm probably going to hold on to it. Now, this one, I like the art, I like the cover, but I more bought this because there was so much hype around it that I thought, oh, you know what, maybe this is a good investment. So I bought it, and it's been sitting here, and I've been watching prices and numbers, and they're not going anywhere. So unless something significant happens or whatever, this book's not going to go anywhere. Not much higher than it is already. And as you can see, I already have other variants as well. I like variants. And so that's what I want to stress here, is if you can buy books that you like, that at the end of the day, if you can't sell it for more than you bought it for, but you still love to have it in your collection, great, then you're doing it right. If you buy a book that you like and it ends up going up in value by a lot, and you can sell it and make money on it, great, you're still winning. Comic books tend to come out, spike right at the beginning of release because everybody wants it, and then once they start flooding the market, once they start becoming more available, prices start dropping. So, again, speculating, it can be good and bad. I just want to kind of give you guys a heads up. Buying the hottest new book, buying the hottest new artist, or whatever, you need to do your math and your calculations before you start throwing money out, because unless you have a ton of capital or you got money to burn, it might come back and bite you in the butt. Alright? Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or any comments or anything like that, please leave them in the comment section below. I might do an update or a follow-up to this video just with a little more detail, but I thought for what I'm seeing in the market and the number of people buying variants, I should just kind of put something out there and say, hey, look, slow down, don't go throwing your money away. These variants aren't going to go anywhere. And if you look at variants that have come out over the past year, I would say 90% of them you can buy still for the same price they were released at, or even lower. And I've done that. Actually, I'll give you a good example here. These J. Scott Campbell Harley Quinn books. These were the black bag books that you couldn't see which one you were getting. At one point, they were selling them for like 20 or 30 bucks, still sealed. I bought this for $5 on eBay, and it is in immaculate condition. I would grade it, but there really is no point because it's not worth it for me to grade. So, anyway, I hope this helped. If you have any questions or comments below, let me know. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Have a great night, guys.